welcome you to today's 45-minute webinar entitled Predictive Analytics Modeling. This is part 2 of the 5-part Predictive Analytics webinar series. Today's webinar is brought to you by Performance G2. Performance G2 is a full-service business analytics consultancy that provides analytics solutions, services, and software, including Cognos, on-site and online training, financial performance management, data management, and consulting to organizations. Performance G2 is a premier IBM Cognos Business Analytics partner, IBM Cognos Business Analytics reseller, and IBM Cognos Support Provider certified. I will be your moderator today, and I would like to introduce you to today's host, Drew Pulvermacher, Director of Predictive Analytics for Performance G2. Drew has over a decade of experience in analytics, focusing on improving enterprise value through the use of operation research methodologies for enhancing productivity, efficiency, and profitability at organizations. Before we get started, I would like to inform you that we will have a Q&A session at the end of the webinar, so please feel free to submit questions during the webinar by filling out the Q&A box that is located on your control panel on your screen. You can also submit questions by emailing us at info@performanceg2.com. This webinar will be recorded, and a recording will be sent to all registrants as soon as it is available. So without further ado, I'm going to turn the floor over to Drew to start the Predictive Analytics Modeling webinar. Drew?
Thank you, Candace. I want to start today's session by not going through all these slides very quickly here. I have a question for you guys. Did you know that a typical flight, pilots are only at the controls for about 3 minutes? The rest of the time, the airplane is on autopilot. The last few crashes in the United States were basically a result of pilots mistakenly stalling the airplane when a mechanical problem hit their instrument panel. In the Wall Street Journal recently, there's an article quoting the FAA study that pilots' reliance on technology pose the biggest threats to airliner safety, basically in the world. Essentially, as I said, pilots are forgetting how to fly due to the dependency of technology. At the same time, air travel has been the safest in years. So what's the issue here? We have technology, but we're losing our skills. The Atlantic, just right before the Wall Street Journal publication, made the argument that our reliance on technology can have the unintended side effects. Basically, they're telling us what to do, and we're losing the skills to control the situation when the lights go off. Whoa, I'm going really fast on my screen here. Sorry, guys. So the reason why I want to bring that up is that we're talking about predictive analytics. We're talking about technology that provides us with answers, but we're losing the skills behind all this. I want to thank you first for being on this call today. And I've been in your seat before and understand the value of your time. I won't fill 60 minutes just to fill the time. Hopefully we'll be done out of here around 45 minutes. But I do want to spend this time reviewing modeling concepts in a way where you can see it applied, so you can think about the fundamentals and then apply it to your specific need. So today's call is the second installment, Performance G2's 5-part series on predictive analytics. A few weeks ago, we had an executive introduction. We'll do data modeling today. In a few weeks, we'll do simulation, followed by optimization and data-driven leadership. I think there's someone making noise in the background. I don't know, Candace, if that's you on the mute, please.
Yeah, if everybody could just make sure that they mute their lines, that would be great.
Yeah, so there in the first session, we mentioned that those who are winning in this predictive space are replacing a number with a shape, and that these distributions are helping us make better forward-looking decision-making, and that PA just doesn't start with technology or the data, but with the objective supported by our variables and by looking at the constraints of our business. So today we'll talk about a few common features that are the underpinnings of predictive models. Again, as Candace mentioned, Performance G2 is a premier IBM partner. We're able to bundle IBM's predictive products with Cognos, as well as a CPlex optimizer program. SPSS, CPlex provide basically the right benefit and value for the right situation. Your situation might be perfect for these applications, or you may have a different issue facing your business. Whatever it is, please give us a call. We'd love to help you out. So the reason for today's session, again, is to establish a few points of clarification of what's going on in the background of our technology. So we don't blindly accept what the technology tells us what to do. All too often we hear kind of the following: here's a technology solution, slap it on, and you'll experience amazing profitable growth in your business. Amazing profitable growth, yes, absolutely, but driven by the people using the technology, not the technology using the people. So I want to take a look here at an example. This is a 60-second IBM video on SPSS. I'm going to play it. The guy talks pretty fast on here. I'm going to make a few call-outs during this demo. So let me start this up here. I want to make sure that you guys can hear it on my side. Oh, shoot.
Hey, Drew, just so you know, there's no sound on that video, so you might have to lead us through it.
Oh, shoot. Hey, sorry, guys. I can hear it on my side. I need to stop this then. Sorry, everyone. So I can hear it on my side. I don't know why it's not coming through on your side. Essentially what he's doing, he's an HR analyst. The boss says, hey, we need to review all of our information to see how we can retain our top employees and recruit more effectively. The boss hands him the data set. He takes the data set, puts it in the SPS modeler, and then comes up with this decision tree right here. Essentially what it says, the technology does it for me. I don't have to work the weekends anymore. Everything else. So, the point's not going to come across. But the great thing is, what he's saying here in this video is that you can basically cut your entire decision support staff, and again, being in your shoes before of reviewing technology solutions, it sounds like, well, now I can just kind of get a monkey in here and do the job for me and press buttons. The objective that he was trying to get at was to retain our top employees and recruit more effectively. But essentially what it is just take the data, put it into a model, and the technology told them, well, you know what, in our HR department, those who received positive reviews stayed with the company longer. Solution gave positive reviews. What was it? I'm kind of giving IBM a hard time, but they know it's all in good fun. This is just a quick example of how slick the program is. However, you kind of need to know what questions to ask here. The objective really wasn't met, and why wasn't that? He started with the data and not translating that objective to guide the analysis. The most important point here is don't let the technology or the data take you down a rabbit hole. Right now, it's like, yeah, classify your employees, know what you're looking for to help guide that decision making. Let's go to the next slide here. Okay. So to uncover, sorry that sound didn't come through for you guys. To uncover what's going on behind the scenes, we're going to review some of the following topics: classification, A/B testing, decision trees, and regression. I do have to warn you, I am a total geek when it comes to this. And I promise you, I'll try my hardest not to go off on tangents today, but I do need to make you aware that these 4 topics are part of a much larger set of methods used for predictive analytics. There are people sitting on this call with advanced applied knowledge of predictive methodologies, and those who are looking at this for the first time. So if we started talking about, hey, a deterministic multi-echelon inventory model, whatever, that just got way too deep, way too fast. My hope is that these 4 concepts will get you excited enough to think about your operations from a different angle. Now, is predictive analytics easy? Yes. Is it simple? No. This field challenges the way we've been taught about uncertainty and risk. So to kick it off, classification. One of the first tasks in a predictive model, whether it's SPSS or a different predictive model, is to find like events or similar characteristics of a variable that you want to influence. Dividing the data set into smaller subsets of related groups is important for a number of reasons. First thing, finding hidden relationships. Looking at data from different angles will allow us to find relationships that are just not obvious from a summary report that we see like a KPI or a weekly business meeting. Second, becoming familiar with the data. Before using a data set to create a predictive model, it's beneficial to become highly familiar with the contents of the set. This is especially important when working with new data because data is routinely ugly or there's missing pieces of it. From the IBM video, his boss handed him some data and the analyst just took it and plugged it into the machine and it was done. That's a topic for another session, but that gets into data quality management. The third one, the segmentation, this technique for grouping data that may lead to divisions that simplify the data for analysis. I recommend using segmentation when designing a portfolio strategy, and we'll get into this. The great thing about products like SPSS or even simple pivot tables is that you can quickly start asking questions about your business and learn during this classification process. Additionally, when you apply classification to your data set, you are enabling the organization to start testing strategies to better understand the impacts of specific decisions. So I'm going to put a simple dashboard here up on the screen. So customer segmentation, classification. Total customers, we have 2,600 total customers. Total sales for this time period, call it $11 million. Total profit, 3.2, 29% margin on about 88,000 invoices. Common metrics we see in KPIs, well, sales per customer, call it 4,200, 34 invoices or customer frequency of 34, per invoice 124 or 36. Great, it's a summary. And we know from last session, our metrics are averages, and we know that decision making based on averages is misleading. So let's say that we want to increase our profitability, the margin side, by focusing on specific customers. So I'm just going to remove this quickly. So here's our customer population. This is a distribution of margin, customer-specific margin. Let's say that we want to look at customers. We have margin less than 30%. I'm just clicking through this. So at summary level, 55% of our accounts, customer accounts, deliver product margin less than 30%. And they represent 60% of our sales and over half of our invoices. Dive deeper, and I'm calling from Madison, Wisconsin today. Let's just put in Madison. Oh, now let's move this. I have 16 customers in the Madison market that fall under 30%. That's 22% of the market sales and 36% of my customer base. Okay, this example falls into the realm of business intelligence, but it helps us better define and ask questions about the business. All this, okay, this is all in Excel, it's linked to an ERP system in the background, but the main point of this, I can start asking questions and get that information right away, okay? So the importance of segmentation will come up again as we take a look at a final concept of regression. Let me get back to my PowerPoint here. Now on the A/B testing side, hypothesis testing, This is absolutely wonderful and one of the best methods, test strategies, and going to market. It basically helps you truly understand what works and what doesn't. With A/B testing, you basically, you quickly test and learn how the market responds to your strategies. Companies such as Netflix, Amazon, Apple, they all use A/B in basically nearly every customer interaction to increase the likelihood of purchase. A/B is a mathematical equivalent of continuous improvement. Additionally, A/B testing comes in handy when you're defining new pricing strategies for your company. No longer, you're not spending weeks developing a strategy, putting it in place, and wait months to understand results. A/B is typically a quick turnaround. The challenge with A/B testing, you'll encounter tests that will fail, and this isn't necessarily a bad thing, as the purpose is to test and learn. You stage small fights with your data. You win some, you lose some. When you win, you apply the learning to a larger sample size, the data that you just basically classified. And when you lose, well, you learn and you improve how you go to market. So typically the hardest part of A/B testing is the prevalent, in numeracy within organizations. And say nerds like me who use terms like probabilities and correlations can generate greater confusion reviewing information. So to provide an example of how to look at this, we're going to talk about, look at healthcare. We'll talk about breast cancer. This is example basically touches the output of A/B testing versus the actual application of it. Click through here. It's my family, kids, my wife Heather. Breast cancer. Summary statistics. Probability of breast cancer is about 1% for women over the age of 40. And women over the age of 40 are encouraged to get a mammogram. The uncertainty in this case is actually having cancer. So I'm going to stop right here for a second. While we're talking about testing cancer, the same logic is applied to business. In the form of a random customer walks into our store with an unknown characteristic. What is the chance she will buy? What is her budget? Before plugging the data into the model, I said, let's walk through this logic. This example illustrates the importance of understanding the structure of A/B testing here. So let's say that a woman walks into a clinic. The unknown is she has cancer. However, if she has cancer but doesn't know it, there's a 90% chance that she'll test positive during the mammogram. If she does not have cancer, there's a 7% chance for testing positive during the test. So we got to imagine someone walking into a clinic, a woman walking into a clinic for a routine mammogram and test positive for breast cancer. What is the probability she actually has it? So I'm going to kind of just pause here. After a few minutes, majority of people say 90%, but we'll still try to do the math in head. Now this is where technology really helps out, because it can help you structure it and do all the equations for you. But where the human, us, we need to come in to be in command of that model. So let's model this out. Segmentation, mammogram. Okay, what is the probability that a random woman goes in and has cancer after receiving a positive test result? So let's say 1,000 women, our population size, cancer rate is, what was it, 0.8%. So 1,000 women, based on these stats, 8 will have cancer, 992 won't. Now here comes a test. Test positive, that rate was 90%. 7 will test positive. Without cancer, 7%. So when most people said there's a 90% chance going in to get test positive, what is it? So those who test positive, that was what? 7 plus 70, 77. 7 actually had cancer. Your rate just dropped down to essentially 9%. So here's why this is important here. I'm going to delete this. Yes, cancer, test positive, 1. Yes, positive, negative, 1. No, you don't have it, but you tested positive, 70. And no, you don't have it. You pressed and tested, had a negative test result, 922. 900, yep, good. Numbers are right. Think about this. You or someone you know receives a positive test result. How is that news taken? The procedures are invasive and completely, you can basically emotionally crush someone receiving this news. So our mammograms, are these a good predictive model for identifying cancer? Now, this is a flesh and blood example because it hits the heart of the importance of understanding uncertainty and influencing behavior. So we go back here. This gets into the Bayes theorem. Don't worry about the equation. I mean, the technology, yes, it does it for you. When we're looking at predictive models, be aware of these false positive, false negatives. Because right now, we're saying 90% chance, when you're just looking at the stats, it actually came down to 9%. No, manage these. Make sure that the predictive model is not out of whack because of your false negatives and false positives. Now, predictive analytics is not 100%, but this is important. When you train your data set for predictive use, you need to ensure that these false signals are not insanely high or leads to miscommunication. You should expect to have false test results when you're training and testing your data in predictive models. But if someone gives you the test results in predictive model and there are no false negatives or false positives, that's when you start asking questions because there's something wrong with the model. But just this is one thing that you definitely need to be aware of. This gets right into the next topic of decision trees. Decision trees are basically, well, extremely powerful because they deal with contingent probabilities. Here's basically my tangent line here in this presentation. One of my pet peeves is walking through P&L or forecasts, and line items are treated as independent variables where everything in the business is related. With contingent probabilities, situations in which the probability of one event depends on the outcome of another, there are fundamental rules of math that must be obeyed here. Most of the time, they're not. I've seen clients estimate probabilities of occurrence for future events under different scenarios that were mathematically impossible. The clients have fully realized this because the rules of contingent probabilities were not embedded in the company's decision-making process. And these concepts are extremely important too. So here's a scenario. You launch a new product A, this year. You believe that product A has a 60% probability of being successful. You plan to launch a related product B, next year. Okay? Excuse me. So you believe that if A is successful, it will increase the probability of success. If A is successful, it will increase the probability of success for B. However, you must make that decision whether to launch B before you know whether or not A is successful. It's getting kind of complex here. Your best estimate of the probability of success for B after A has been launched is, let's just call it 20%. However, if A is successful, your estimated chance of success for B increases to, say, 40%. All right, just threw out a ton of numbers right there. And this is where decision trees kind of basically have their power. How do we map this stuff out so we can remember what's going on here? But have you seen situations like this before? Most of us have. Business consists of endless streams of projects, many of which are interrelated. How do you keep track of all these different probabilities that are going on and how they influence each other? And if they are interrelated, the outcome of one will cause us to change our opinions about the probable outcome of another. So this scenario is mathematically impossible. And I'll show you why in a second here. If we currently assess the probability of success for A at 60%, and that at B, after A is launched, at 20%, there is no way that B's probability of success can increase to 40%, regardless of how successful A is. So I'll say let's plant a tree here. I'll get a decision tree going right here, product A. So events in the decision tree run from left to right. The first event is the decision to launch product A. Do we launch? Yes or no. The second event is to launch product B. So regardless of the choice we make, the next event is the uncertainty regarding whether A will be successful. Okay, so let's just go down this branch right here. A has a probability of success of 60%, which means 1 minus 60 is 40%. If we decide not to launch B, our tree is basically done. Okay. If we decide to launch B, then after we find out whether or not A is successful, we'll find out whether or not B is successful. The 20 in the PowerPoint went from 20 to 40% if A was a success. So we have well, the one thing we don't have in that scenario is this one, last one. Sorry, I thought that was deleted there. What happens to B if A is not successful? So we have not specified that probability here, and this is where the problem comes to light, and this comes up quite often in like NPV models and product development. Go back to PowerPoint. You have 3 probabilities of success for product B. You know, and those 3 are not independent of each other. I feel like I need to get some aspirin here. The overall probability of success for B, I have to write this out here, B equals the probability of success for B given the success of A, then the probability of success of A plus the probability of success for B given the failure of A plus probability of failure of A. This is a headache. Again, technology comes into play here, but how do you start to think about this? That's where decision tree comes into play. So you're not writing out all these equations. This example was impossible, but why bring it up? Basically because it happens all the time. Remember the SPSS video? I know that you couldn't hear it at the beginning of this presentation. There was a decision tree that was the output. You have to ask, well, what are the factors that have contingent probabilities? The technology can give you the likelihood and will generically assign contingent probabilities for you, but are they correct and do they make sense? What processes do you currently have in place that require dependencies, and how are they measured? So without a solid decision-making process to enforce that, say, number 1, the appropriate analysis are performed, that all critical data are included in the analysis, and say that the results are incorporated into forward plans that actually get implemented, we're likely to waste a lot of valuable time crunching numbers and performing evaluations that basically add no value. So here's where technology helps. Get another decision tree here. You can quickly branch off into different options. So this is kind of this is energy here, but you can basically do it with anything. Financial services, do it for foreign policy as well. So you're going to drill with the oil. Do you want to test the field first before you explore, or don't test? It's going to cost you $55,000. I won't go through all of this, but I'm going to show you how quickly all this can start just branching out and kind of get overwhelming. Well, if you have a team of decision support people that can help model this out, they're not writing that equation over and over and over again. This is going to do it for you. I won't get into the specifics of this model, but it basically just says oil. Yes, I'm going to test true, yes. The probabilities all change on the different outputs, and this is all based on historical findings, whatnot, with this company. Companies like Chevron, they've been doing this type of modeling for over 60 years, and they have over 200 people that put together these types of models right here when they go in to drill for new explorations. So now is about the time heads start to hurt. This is the last one here. We're going to talk about regression. Now, regression is great. Regression is a relationship between two or more variables. Quick call out here. This one is linear. And again, this is kind of the tip of the iceberg. There's nonlinear regression, everything else. We're going to focus on this one right here and kind of bring everything else together. So we talked about classification, A/B testing, whatnot. I'm looking at customer data here, customer ID, our time period here. Let's kind of map it out. Sometimes I like to, well, for this example, I'm changing my customer names to a country name. So country, let's say Germany. We're going to have a specific marketing campaign in Germany. I want to test out results, but I want to find another like portfolio that's the same, that performs the same as Germany. So I could pick Germany as well. Here, this R squared correlation coefficient is 1 because they're exactly the same, but I don't want that. So let's go in here and say, I'm going to pick Canada. And there's 1. Okay, great. Going to improve this number to get close as 1 again. How about France? All right. Hong Kong. So Hong Kong in there. Hong Kong, 84 to 9. Holy smokes. Try another one. Spain. Just kind of all moving around. How about the UK? All sticking around 90. And you keep on going. Just want to find one more. Come on. Okay. All right. I'm just going to get Netherlands in there. 89. Shoot. Went down. Anyways. So SPSS, they'll find the stuff you want to put together a portfolio. So the regression analysis, you're going to have your control set and your test set. So let's say that we're going to test the German market versus our portfolio. So we're making one change here on this blue line. So this represents sales. Let's say that we're going to change pricing, or we're going to have a huge ad campaign just in this market. The data behind here, I'm going to color this. This is the main data for that graph right now. I'm going to take this, put together a forecast. The forecast, so I did this last night. I got to change this because this is standard Excel and it doesn't change when you change the data. Let me just build this forecast quickly. Data analysis, regression. That's the data I want. That's where I want to put it. Yes, thank you. There we go. So the green line on the regression model is going to estimate where the German performance should land based on your portfolio. This is the same thing that happens in financial markets, everything else. Without that promotion that happened in Germany, we would expect German performance to end up somewhere around this green line. Now I'm ignoring our P10s and P90s. This kind of gets into the confidence intervals. That's another topic of discussion. We see how the German market outperformed the portfolio over this time period, and the measure of the success of this is using simple regression. Again, this is linear. You can go a lot deeper with this. So let me go back here. Now, is this easy to do? Yeah, it's easy. Is it simple to put in place? No. It's easy to start exploring and start learning. all the examples I showed were in Excel, which is a great resource to start exploring with the stuff. And this session, we're getting on to the 45-minute mark here. All these concepts of predictive analytics, this is just the tip of the iceberg here. I presented a sample of some of the most important concepts used in predictive analytics and how they relate to us as decision-making humans, not monkeys pushing a button, allowing technology to tell us how to operate. And these concepts, the probabilistic analysis techniques described, they add value only if they help us make better decisions. The technology and the data are secondary to the objective we're trying to achieve. And the people in leadership you have in place help drive that success of your own strategy. So at the end of the day, no one really cares about analytics. They care about the results from the decisions that they made. As my neighbor once told me, it'll take me 15 minutes to teach you how to remove an appendix. It'll take me 4 years to teach you what to do when something goes wrong. When you need someone to help assess, build, review a predictive strategy, we at Performance G2 have the resources to help you. I want to thank you again for your time today. I look forward to the pleasure of speaking with you in the future. I really hope this helped inspire you to start exploring the world of predictive analytics, and hopefully encourage you to, hey, reach out, contact me, and keep on learning. With that, I'm going to turn over for Q&A. Candace is going to take the mic now. Let me get to that Q&A screen for you, Candace. Here we go.
Thank you, Drew, for the presentation. At this point, we do have some questions to go over. I'm going to try to get through as many as I can in the next couple of minutes. Again, though, if you do have questions, please feel free to use the questions box on your control panel on your screen now to ask any questions that you might have. The first question for you, Drew, is how do I seek out an employee who understands this stuff?
I would say, find someone who is generally, just extremely curious and has demonstrated a background of continuous learning. The techniques are fairly easy once you've wrestled with them. You want to find someone who will question what they're finding and have the drive to take on that discovery phase independently. Additionally, to keep them in-house in the company, provide an open range, I'd say, to explore and to learn new things. I'd say expose them to different problems that they can chew on. And if you're searching contractors, hey, give us a ring.
Great, thanks, Drew. The next question for you is, would it be beneficial to take an online master's course to learn predictive analytics?
I'd say it depends on the objective here. If you're taking a master's course in order to focus on a specific business problem, I would say no. If you're just you're curious, you really want to learn, an online course can be fun. But if you're taking an online course to build bench strength for your company, I advise the route of applied learning. Like this session, courses will cover just the surface of the techniques. You learn more by getting your hands dirty on the real world problems of your business. It depends on your situation, I guess.
Okay, thanks, Drew. I would like to thank everyone for joining our webinar, and thanks, Drew, for the presentation today. If your questions did not get answered, or if you have any other questions, again, please feel free to email us at info@performanceg2.com or drew@performanceg2.com. You can also visit our Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, or LinkedIn pages and connect with us there, or you can connect with us by calling the number that you see on your screen or visiting our website. On that note, I would like to thank Drew again for the presentation. If anyone would like to join the next presentation, just an FYI, it will be May 15th, and we will be sending everyone a webinar invite for that, as well as a link to the recording of today's webinar. For more information about all of our other upcoming Performance U2 events and webinars, please feel free to visit our events page on our website. We really look forward to having everyone attend our future events. Drew, is there anything else you would like to add?
No, other than thank you all very much for your time, and I look forward to speaking with you.
Thank you, everyone, and have a great day.